Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the January 26, 2021 regular town board meeting. I'm going to call the meeting to order, and will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Here.
Councilman Delarada. Councilwoman McGraw.
Here.
Councilman McPartlin.
Here.
Supervisor Syed. Here. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
republic
for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, liberty, and
justice for all.
Next, we have approval of the minutes. We will begin with the minutes of the December 22nd, 2020 regular town board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any changes, additions, or subtractions to these minutes? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And those minutes are approved. Next, we have the minutes of the January 5th, 2021 special organizational meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any changes, additions, or subtractions to those minutes? Okay, with none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And those minutes are approved. Next, we have privilege of the floor. I'm going to begin with reading our submitted letters that were submitted by email. I'm going to read them in the order in which they were received. We have 4 letters to read into the record this evening. So I'm going to begin with a letter submitted by Georgiana Carney. Okay, Georgiana writes, my name is Georgiana Carney. I have lived at 1465 Via Del Mar for the last 31 years. The following is what I heard when I listened online to the last planning board meeting on the subject of the broken inn. Please confirm that I've heard correctly and see my corresponding questions. Buildings were built in the 1940s and the town code came into effect in 1971. There will be a deficit of 12 parking spaces, but the board isn't concerned as the non-conforming parking issue is grandfathered in. Laura thinks they should encourage the town to continue the non-conformity. Members of the planning board ask whose problem is this, the zoning board or the town board? My question is, are you looking to pass the buck? Isn't this something you should address directly rather than push aside? Mr. Nicky of the Broken Inn pointed out that there are about 900 residences in Old Niskuna. My question is, since a large number of those 900 residences were also built in the 30s and 40s, does that mean we are grandfathered in and no longer need to follow any town code? Mr. Walsh's thoughts were, 1, a shopping complex is pre-existing non-conforming. 2, parking is marginal and inadequate, which is a result of the design of the complex built in the 1940s. 3, parking will get worse before it gets better. Based on the county proposed configuration, ultimately parking will decrease. 4, some opportunity for extra parking in the future, possibly to do something on Crescent Road. Pertaining to this, her question is, if this is unfunded, why is it part of the discussion? Why should the residents of Crescent and Clifton Park roads have to accommodate parking in front of their homes? It doesn't seem that you are worried about them. It would appear that you're only concerned about Mr. Nicky. Point 5, Mrs. King has offered her residential property across the street as something that could be converted into parking for the future. Again, this is unfunded. My question is, does it matter that she has tried 3 times before to use her residentially zoned property for commercial purposes? The neighbors on the south side of Knott Street have made themselves clear. They do not want any more commercialization pushed into the neighborhood. I couldn't help but notice that members of the board remained mute when this was discussed, even though the planning board and its alternates have previously voted against this use of the property. Will the town of Niskuna reimburse me for the reduction of value of my adjacent home and the loss of use of my yard if you change the zoning of Mrs. King's property and turn it into a parking lot? Will you reimburse my neighbors for the loss of value of their homes when our neighborhood begins to function as a commercial area with cars parked on the street? Point 6, there are other empty stores, currently 2, which will further exacerbate the parking issue if they were to be rented. However, the planning board would not be able to stop anyone from occupying these based on inadequate parking of the broken in, if the broken in is approved. Point 7, you asked to see some type of written agreement on shared parking among the business owners. My question on this point is, you have been asking for this since the first meeting. It is extremely unlikely that you're going to get a written agreement because it would be a liability exposure for the other business owners and their insurance carriers. How can you move forward without these agreements when Mr. Nicky would not have enough parking? Point number 8, Mr. Walsh thinks that if parking is full, that people will just drive by and not go into the business. My question regarding this point is, have you ever spent time in this neighborhood on a busy holiday or during a co-op event? Both customers and employees will park on the side streets. Not a serious problem because it is for one day. Mr. Darpino's thoughts, he is comfortable with the parking situation. The reality is that adjacent side streets will see cars parking there. The existing businesses require short-term parking in and out. The broken in will change that, and people will be parking considerably longer, approximately 45 to 90 minutes. He asked if maybe Metroplex could help out on Mrs. King's lot. My question is, what exactly are you comfortable with? Creating problems for the adjacent neighbors, moving forward without any solutions in place? Mr. Darpino, you dealt directly with Mrs. King. When you were a co-op board member, you know how the neighbors feel about a commercial use of that property. Are you comfortable paving the way for more grievances? My thoughts and questions in closing. Is it responsible to approve this project when you know it raises concerns and exacerbates problems that need solutions? Why are you looking for ways to get around the rules for one specific business? As a town planner, shouldn't Laura be encouraging the board to deny this request as it will increase the parking problem that the county will be spending millions to help remedy? Is it fair that neighbors will be facing months of construction disruption only to have the town negate any progress? Maybe our town board, including zoning and planning, should be spending their time trying to preserve the uniqueness of Old Niskuna instead of trying to push commercialization that doesn't even conform to its own code. Regarding snow storage, perhaps the town should require businesses to contract either with them or a private contractor to remove the snow from the property. There isn't enough parking as is. Fewer spots remain after snow is merely pushed aside. And finally, when is the town going to stop referring to the small area of commercial property as the town center? It is my understanding that the heart of our community is supposed to be town hall, a place where the community can come together and connect. It troubles me that you think of this small group of businesses where you admit people spend only a few minutes at a time as its heart. Step back and think about that. How sad for Niskuna. That concludes that privilege of the floor letter. Next privilege of the floor letter is submitted by Gail King. And Gail writes, in order to accommodate Mr. Thomas Nicky's bar/restaurant, our elected and appointed officials are neglecting the rights of the business owners, employees, and clients who are relying on the parking in front of the established businesses. We need more parking, not less. The neighbors who want this bar/restaurant have the least share. We snowplow, shovel, patch holes, sweep, and pick up trash. Each of the 5 individual buildings take care of their own cleanup and repairs. What are these privately owned businesses? Looks like whatever you feel like calling us. We are down by the co-op, neighborhood commercial neighborhood, multi-use shopping center. Now we hear restaurants are called sit down and takeout. They need the same amount of parking spaces. How long do you stay in a restaurant? I think longer than it takes to get your hair done. The buildings are in the same space since the 1930s. The last one built was in the late 60s. Parking was chopped out by the side of Knott Street. Now we hear that spaces on the south side of Knott, between Via Del Mar and Clifton Park Road, will become the east and westbound heavyweight lanes of traffic. No stopping, no curb cuts. How do we get into our property at 2208 Knott Street? This means we lose about 15 parking spaces we chopped out of the right-of-way and maintained as parking for 30 years plus. The parking was in use when we bought the land. It's always how to stay in business. Losing parking, so we buy the 2220 Crescent property, apply for permits to move Gail King's hair removal business. We try to do a lot of the work ourselves, much to the chagrin of town officials. Along comes COVID to shut us down. With so much going on now, just to stay alive, Mr. Nicky and planners have snuck up on us. And now you say Mr. Thomas Nicky's customers can park anywhere. I wonder if he was told he has to chop out his own parking, as in pay for it. The Langs know but ignore. Does Nicky know but ignore? Do the planners know but ignore? We really are not a multi-use shopping center and never have been. I believe this title was recently added to accommodate Mr. Nicky, or is left out or not translated properly from print to electronic code. That multi-use, self-contained shopping center is across the street. That shopping center was allowed to exist in order to shut down the co-op the last time they wanted to expand. Mr. Nicky has stated he wants to serve 30 to 50 guests at one time every night of the week. Planners state that there are 30 parking spaces. Really, for all of us? Where is your math? Where do the rest of the businesses park? There will be an overlap of customers from 1 to 8 cars. They will be parking on top of each other. You are counting the same spaces over and over again. Where do our 8 residential tenants park at night? How do they sleep with the noise? Mr. Nicky makes this sound like it's his duty to move in during the late night hours and use our parking. I have not given my permission for this bar/restaurant to park on our property or in front of our property. It will be marked. You will be towed. Mr. Nicky has asked our tenants if bar customers can park. Asked the building owners. Has the co-op taken a vote of their owners? Will they maintain the parking Nicky wants to use for free? It's Mr. Nicky's and the Lang's obligation to provide safe parking for their clients, not the obligation of the businesses and property owners or the town residents who are already here. Also, there will be less parking after construction in May and less access. There is a movement to allow parking on nearby streets. Who pays for this? Will there be sidewalks? Will they become one-way streets? Will residents get to vote? Who will be allowed to use the parking? All the shoppers? ? Will Mr. Nicky and the Langs be paying for this? Please talk to me if you need more explanation. Gail King, resident for decades, business owner, property owner, mother to 4 Niskayuna alumni, grandmother to 6 children. For all these reasons, I ask you to play fair and say no. And that concludes that privilege of the floor letter. Our next privilege of the floor letter was submitted by Diane O'Donnell of 1921 Mayfair Road. And Diane writes, Town Supervisor and Town Board members, I feel that it is appropriate to recognize at this Niskayuna Town Board meeting the sudden and unexpected passing of Ben Wallach this weekend. I met Ben approximately 20 years ago when I became a candidate for the Niskayuna Town Board. From that moment, he was there for me both professionally and personally. I'm very fortunate for me and so many others to have him as my friend and supporter to this day. Ben truly cared about our town in so many ways. He was a strong supporter of our town government, programs, and those who served as elected officials and employees. He was an advocate for our small businesses and farmers markets. While I know that we all didn't always agree with Ben's point of view at times, but I also know that his heart was always in the right place. Ben was passionate and committed to the things and people that mattered to him. He worked hard to make things happen. Ben will be greatly missed by so many people, and especially by his friends and family. I will miss our calls and texts and visits to the Sheridan Plaza, his quick wit, the twinkle in his eye, and his remarkable laugh and charm. We all will miss the generosity of his time and expertise he gave to Schenectady and Niskayuna. While your time with us was too short, your impact was tremendous. Thank you, Ben. And that concludes that privilege of the floor letter. I do echo Diane's statements Ben Wallach will be greatly missed. And our last privilege of the floor letter was submitted by Linda Rizzo. And Linda writes, I recently read in the Gazette that the long-awaited Sebesta report was released. In my opinion, this was a nothing report that costed the town $100,000 plus. Paul Sebesta explained that he wore the costume because he was a big fan of Marley. This brought to mind Oscar Wilde's quote that imitation is the highest form of flattery. The town said that intent did not count. In a court of law, intent does count, but apparently not in the town. Sebesta was not guilty of racism, but in my opinion, the town was guilty of ruining his reputation. John De La Rata publicly spoke out about this, stating he disagreed with how the town handled this matter. Bill McPartland, Denise McGraw, and John De La Rata voted to give him his vacation pay. They wanted to handle this in a humane, compassionate manner. These 3 board members deserve credit. I do not support hurting people because of race or creed. However, Sebesta did not do this to be hurtful. The taxpayers have to pay 6 figures for this report, while the town could not balance its budget. When the supervisor ran for office, she said that she wanted to treat employees with dignity, criticizing the former supervisor as being insensitive. Under Joe Landry, no one was publicly treated in this manner. If someone was suspended, it was never made public, and no board member went to the press making comments. I think I prefer Landry's approach. And that concludes that privilege of the floor letter. Okay. So with all of the privilege of the floor letters included, we're now going to move on to, my screen is popping up with notifications. Okay, now we're moving on to committee reports. We're going to begin with Councilwoman Jaquith.
I gotta go read. Thank you, Supervisor. Highway and Parks. Crews have been working on resident request lists, a few small backyard drainage repairs, tree trimming, basement repairs, and of course, Christmas tree pickup, which will continue through the end of the month. A reminder that trees are all chipped and used for mulching and projects throughout town in the spring. Parks crews have been cutting brush, on the bike path. They're currently working at Lions Park and cleaning the area in and around the train station. Everyone, of course, remains on snow plow duty as necessary, including today. We have 9 crews out working on roads throughout Niskuna during all storms. Ray wanted me to pass on that the crews, again, were out today and will be back in overnight tonight. As far as community programs, updates for the next couple of months, Ski Club began. It's been going well. All of the participants are adhering to the COVID safety rules. We're really thrilled that we were able to move forward with this program. And I know, of course, the skiers are as well. Adult Tai Chi, now that we have the UVC lights installed in the community center, we're able to run a second session of Adult Tai Chi, running on Tuesday evenings from February 2nd through April 13th. Registration is open online. Bunny Parade, we are very hopeful that we'll be able to move forward with this event in one way or another. The date is on the calendar for Friday, April 2nd, and details will be forthcoming as the date approaches. As far as the senior center, so a lot of activity there. We've been attempting to support the efforts of the Schenectady County Health Department and aid communication about the vaccine information to our seniors. Senior center staff has been contacting those without email and fielding a lot of calls inquiring about the process. We've all read in the paper, there's been a rollout of it. It was, run by the state, then trickled down eventually to the county health department. So there's been some starts and stops with that. But our senior center staff is working really hard to work with our seniors to get everyone registered. We are providing information to the county on that. It's been challenging. It's challenging for our senior staff to navigate, of course, the websites for registration, the site, the state site and the county sites. But of course, our senior center staff has been very helpful to them, been working very hard to communicate with them information and to facilitate that process. And that will continue. I'm told we've responded at the senior center to over 400 emails from seniors. So I commend our staff for working really hard to support our seniors through this process. We'll get there. Of course, part of it is there aren't enough vaccines, and now we've opened up to 1B, but we'll keep at it, and we're communicating with the county about that issue. Staff continues to stay connected with our seniors in a variety of ways. February activities include another delivery of activity bags with various themes, including Venice, Italy, February trivia, games, and origami craft, and of course, chocolate for Valentine's Day will be coming up. January deliveries included 32 bags and 24 birthday cupcakes. Staff's been receiving a lot of very good feedback, and deservedly so, from recipients, and outreach continues to as many folks as possible. Staff is really focused on outreach to those who are more shut in than others. February is on par for similar numbers in terms of deliveries. This is separate from and in addition to the deliveries that are taking place for our lunch program, a request for groceries, and delivery, of folks to doctor's appointments. Our lunches still continue. We're doing, again, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, a drive-through. Seniors are able to order and pick up. January's seen 154 lunches to date, which doesn't even include this Thursday. So we're still going strong. February menus, they wanted me to let everyone know that they're posted. Well, they'll be posted by the weekend. And of course, they, when we have pickups, they include those menus with the deliveries, and it'll be posted on the Senior Center website as well. All exercise classes remain virtual, and Eddie Canizzo's secured several donations from our community health partners, totaling a sizable amount, so we can continue to offer those exercise programs free of charge to our seniors. Staff and seniors alike look forward to returning into in-person programs and services. And again, I commend everyone's efforts. Our staff is working very hard during these extraordinary times to continue to serve our Niskuna town people to the best of their ability. I commend everyone for doing that, and we all very much appreciate their work. And that's all I have, Madam Supervisor. Thank you. Oh, I have to say about my next meeting. I always forget that part. So it is always the first Wednesday of the month. So that will be Wednesday, February 3rd at 8:15 a.m. We've switched to 8:15 this year to help some folks make it. And we'll see everybody by Zoom or by Google Meet on February 3rd at 8:15. All are welcome. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. Is John Delarada on the line?
Yes,
Wonderful.
thank you, Supervisor.
Thank
Can you
you.
hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you. As you know, I chair the Economic Development, Historic Preservation, and Environmental Conservation Committee. We met on January 8th at 8:30. We meet next, the first Friday of February, February 5th. That will be at 8:30, also virtual as our last one. For a brief COVID update, the building department is fully staffed, although only about 50% are at Town Hall in the office. The other 50% are working from home or in the field. So they will certainly meet people with building permits and the like with a call and on an as appointment needed basis. Of course, they are still working on the Knott Street improvements and the broken in improvements as far as parking updates and trying to figure out how many spots will be allocated to what businesses. But very importantly, we have a lot of spots open for our advisory boards and our committees. We do need applicants to volunteer for these jobs. They're very important. We have about 10 of them open between the Conservation Advisory Council, the Tree Council. We have a Complete Streets Committee, a Climate Smart Community Task Force, as well as an Architectural Review Board. And all of these councils or committees desperately need volunteers. And this is a great way for people that live in the community to get involved and to shape the policy of the community. So we really hope that folks will get to our town website. And if they click on the news and announcement tabs, they can get more information on the various boards and ways to apply and send in resumes if they so want. So hopefully we'll get a good turnout for that, because we do need them. A nice, diverse membership is always preferable. And again, we do meet on February 5th at 8:30. Thank you, Supervisor.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We're now going to move on to Councilwoman McGraw.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I join Councilwoman Jakewith in thanking our senior staff. They've been a tremendous help throughout this vaccination process. I know many residents remain confused about the process, remained, it's not been easy. So frustrated is probably the best word. One point to just clear up for everyone: the town is not actually offering the vaccine ourselves. We're just helping facilitate that for the county. And of course, I also join Rosemary in pointing out the great work of Edie Canizzo. She's just a wonderful staff person, and she's always right there for our seniors. I do want to talk about what we're doing with our own staff in terms of vaccinations, and thank the county for helping facilitate, starting next week, our water plant workers. I know many of you have been following this issue, and we've been working very hard with the state and with our county officials to ensure that our essential employees who are providing our water in town get those vaccinations as quickly as possible. So they will start on Monday, which I know only just benefits all of us, to ensure that our public works facilities and the water that we drink in our town is as safe as it possibly can be and provided by these essential employees. On tonight's agenda is a measure that I've been working on for a long time now, and I thank my colleague, Councilman Della Rata, for helping with this issue, is addressing abandoned buildings and how we are going to work with those moving forward. For many years, I worked on the zombie houses issue. This is an extension of that, so I'm pleased to see that moving forward. After 30 years, speaking of water, after 30 years of supplying award-winning drinking water in our town, our great employee, Tim Nagel, will be retiring next month. So I just want to tip my hat to him. I want to thank him. He has taught me more about water and water delivery and water systems and all of these things than I would have ever dreamed that I could have learned coming into this job a dozen years ago. But Tim is a consummate professional. He is just such a wonderful coworker to everyone. He's been so supportive, and he really does take great pride in the fact that we have fantastic drinking water in this town. So he will be missed, and I thank him from the bottom of my heart for everything that he has done. And just in upcoming days, I think construction will be completed and we'll go online with a new fuel sharing system and a pump that will be water and sewer, the police department, and fire 1 and 2. And, as we always say, working together and ensuring that we're coordinating these efforts it's the best way to be able to save our resources. So I'm grateful to Matt Yetto and his team for moving forward with that effort. And and thank you, Rosemary, again. My meeting is the morning of February 4th. That's when water and sewer's next meeting is. So thank you very much, Madam Supervisor.
Thank you very much. We're now going to move on to Councilman McPartlin.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. The Town Police and Public Safety meeting met on January 5th. Operationally, we discussed officers that might be out on either COVID quarantine or COVID symptoms and staffing due to those issues that relate to COVID. So far, we've been able to handle our staffing okay, but sometimes it gets difficult. We also discussed the resolution about changing the alarm fees for the town, raising the residential fee to $51 and the commercial alarm fee to $85 and outside only alarms, $127.50. Also, the police reform reinvention subcommittees are continuing to meet, and that process is going very well. I want to thank everyone that's participating in that. These meetings are very fruitful, and the process is going exceptionally well. Reporting on our fleet, you'll see later on we've got a proposal for bonding for 2 new police cars. This is something that we've continued to try to do to cut down on maintenance of vehicles by continually rotating our fleet and having it in the best condition that we can. Buildings-wise, the new locking system is being installed at Town Hall. That seems to be progressing well. Training, always training for our officers. All officers have completed the anti-bias training. This for law enforcement. This was done online with the Police One Academy. This is an initiative that our new chief, Fran Wall, has gotten the department on, and it seems to be working out very well. Citizen issues, we had one complaint about some speeding on Wyoming. We've had this complaint before, so we put out our traffic study there. It doesn't appear that it's so much a speeding problem as a volume problem. We had it out there, and there was for about a month and 10,992 vehicles in 1 month on that street. So that's a lot of volume. So we'll continue to patrol that area and make sure that we can enforce all traffic rules on Wyoming. Community events, there were the 2 holiday parades, which everyone knows about. Those all went very well with the assistance of our police department. The PBA donated funds to 4 families for Christmas and also worked with the high school for needy families. So we want to thank our PBA for doing that. Court issues, Judge Swinton reported the court is still closed, obviously, and they're trying to work on virtual meetings. Some things they're able to do virtually, but not everything. Fire department, the chief of the fire department reported that they are transporting COVID patients on a daily basis. Most of the fire department staff has gotten their first vaccine. They were 1A. So that's good for them to report that. Personnel-wise, due to the retirement initiative, the police department has got 2 retirements due to the initiative that the board put forth. One of those persons is an office person, and the other one is an actual police officer. And that's all I have to report. Our next meeting is February 2nd at 8 a.m. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. That concludes our committee reports. We're going to move on to the supervisor's report. It will be brief. I'm going to echo the sentiments of Councilwoman McGraw and Councilwoman Jakewith. Thank you to all of our staff for everything that they've been doing at the Senior Center to try and educate and find solutions for some of the frustrations that our seniors are feeling right now and trying to get themselves vaccinated. So the best place to point you all to really is the county's webpage, schenectadycounty.com. They have a COVID-19 tracker. They have a COVID-19 vaccination page. In limited quantities, they are administering vaccinations at Price Chopper Market 32s in concert with the county. So it's all a state effort, of course. Hopefully, as many seniors can be vaccinated as is possible. But again, I urge everybody to visit the county's webpage. It's incredibly helpful and informative. And I will be hoping and praying for everyone's safety. And speaking of COVID, last week on Friday, January 22nd, 2021, I executed another local state of emergency declaration that extends the successive states of emergency declarations that have been issued. This one is going to be effective from last Friday, January 22nd, for another 30-day period. So we're going to continue the closure of the town hall, the justice court, the senior center, and other facilities to the general public until Sunday, February 22nd, 2021. So specifically in regards to the senior center, they're still going to maintain all of the services that they have been maintaining in the weeks and months prior. So that won't change, just we will maintain the closure of the actual facility to the general public. On February 21st, 2021, we will reevaluate the new infection rate statistics in the county and decide at that point whether a continued closure is prudent and warranted. I do want to note that even though our facilities are closed to the general public, they remain open to our staff. As some of our council members have noted, Our staff are on a rotating schedule. They work remotely, but they are working. Everyone is ready, willing, and able to assist our residents in any issue that may arise in any town business that they need to conduct, and they've done a fantastic job maintaining all of this, and all while worried about their own personal safety, as I'm sure many of our residents are as well. I would urge you to visit our website, www.niskuna.org. We have an extensive list of our department contacts and all the available services that can be conducted exclusively by phone, online, or via regular mail. In limited instances, we can have individuals come to the town hall for certain cases, certain town business that needs to be conducted, most pertinent with regards to the town clerk's office. But again, all of that's delineated on our website. Please refer to our website for all of that information. I want to thank all of our residents and all of our town staff for your continued patience as we strive to ensure your safety and the safety of our staff. So thank you all very much. And again, I hope and pray for everyone's safety as we continue on in the new year. That concludes my supervisor's report. We're going to move on to our resolutions. We're going to begin with Resolution 2021-20, sponsored by Councilwoman Jakewith. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to hire additional workers in the town's Office of Community Programs.
Thank you. Do I have a second? I will second.
Bobby.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-21, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution retaining bond counsel for year 2021.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-22, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution establishing a standard workday and reporting.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-23, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing certain budgetary modifications.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-24, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing a change in certain town fees.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-25, sponsored by Councilman Delarada and Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution calling for a public hearing to be held for an amendment to the town code regarding vacant home registration.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-26, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution regarding the entering into a fence easement agreement.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-27, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing carryover of vacation time by an employee in the Water and Sewer Department.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada, excuse me,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-28, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution approving the change of hourly pay for a part-time transfer station employee.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-29, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution establishing a Town of Niskayuna Compliance Committee.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-30, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution calling for a public hearing regarding the joint increase and improvements of the facility of Consolidated Sewer District Number 6.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this
I
resolution.
just wanted to make sure I was paying
I
attention.
mixed it up a little bit. Sorry.
She's like, stop watching Jeopardy, Denise. Pay attention.
Nicely done, Michelle. Now we all have to be prepared. It's going to go out of order.
You have to pay attention.
Next resolution, 2021-31, sponsored by Councilwoman Jakewith. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing bonds for equipment in the Highway Department subject to permissive referendum.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-32, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution calling for a public hearing regarding joint increase and improvements of facilities of Consolidated Water District Number 1.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-33, sponsored by Councilman McPartlin. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing bonds for patrol vehicles for use in the town's police department.
Thank you. Do I have a second? I will second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-34, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution calling for a public hearing regarding the issuance of bonds for a pickup truck to be used in the town's water and sewer department.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Last resolution, 2021-35, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to provisionally appoint a person to the position of Systems Administrator.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes.
Can I just, on that resolution, Madam Supervisor?
Absolutely.
As many of us know, our current system administrator, Bill Lawrence, who has served this town for, Yasmin, how many times? What did he tell us? 20 years?
Yeah.
He originally started as part-time, and he used to split his time between us and Glenville. And he has been here full-time for many years now. And he has really developed a system that I think is the envy of most other communities. And he does it on a shoestring. He is frugal, he is smart, he is forward-thinking, and he is committed to making sure that all of us can do this, get on these things all the time, and our systems are working, and we're able to communicate with one another and the residents. Bill will be leaving us in the beginning of February after a magnificent career, some well-earned retirement time. And we will miss him terribly. But one of the last things he's done is helped guide a process in which we were able to appoint the individual we just appointed. And I believe that he will follow well in Bill's footsteps as somebody who is very much committed to ensuring that we are able to communicate with our residents regularly and easily, and everything in town hall works, and it works well for the taxpayers. So I want to thank Bill especially for his tireless efforts on our behalf, day in and day out for decades.
Thank you so much for those sentiments, Councilwoman McGraw. I would like to echo them as well. As Bill passes the baton on to Seth Goldstein, we want to welcome him to our team. We know that he's going to flourish here and do a fantastic job. But it's a bittersweet moment. We're going to miss Bill Lawrence tremendously. He's been here during my entire tenure. I've come to rely on him tremendously. He's always at the ready. It doesn't matter if he's on vacation. In some instances, even helping Councilwoman McGraw when she was on vacation to Iceland at a certain point. So we just want to thank him from the bottom of our hearts for everything that he has done for the town of Niskayuna. And again, I will miss him so much. I know we all will. And we wish him the best in his retirement. It's a big step, and hopefully he's going to come back and play during our concert series.
Yeah.
He's also a very talented musician. So please, Bill, don't leave us hanging on that one.
You're here.
Yes, I just want to echo everyone else's remarks. Thank you, Bill. He has been a very valued employee of the town of Niskayuna for 20 years. Imagine how much computer technology has changed in 20 years, and Bill Lawrence handled all of that and got us through, well, still into the COVID, having people work remotely, Zoom meetings, all of the fantastic things that he has done. And absolutely, I think we need to make it a requirement that he has to come back to be entertainment in the summer concert series. I'm sure he will. Again, Bill, thank you for everything.
Bill, thank you for your service. Wishing you a happy, healthy, and very long retirement.
Thank you all so much. Okay, well, before we motion to adjourn, I'm going to motion to enter into executive session. We're going to motion, or I'm going to make the motion pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105, subsection F, to discuss the employment history of a particular person and matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any
I'll-
opposed?
No, but I'll be on my phone again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so with no opposed, we're now going to enter into executive session. At the conclusion of executive session, we will take up no further town business. We will be concluded for the evening. So with that, I will bid you all a farewell tonight. If you are driving, be very safe. The roads are a little treacherous this evening. And if you can at all possible, or stay home. Be safe. Have a wonderful evening.